Yeah.
We're good?
Yeah, I don't know if the other guys in here. I told them where to go, so.
Well, that's nice of you.
Yeah.
Cool. Stand.
Yeah, so I just got one. Super slides.
Oh, good. Hello, people on the live stream. If there are people on the live stream.
Being live streamed.
Sorry?
So we're being live streamed.
Yeah. I'm just gonna move this over. Alright. Before we get started, it would be fun for everyone to just go around and introduce yourself, say what you're working on, what your company is, and what brought you to Austin. Want to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Cool.
I'm Robin Arnott. I'm a virtual reality developer, and I'm working on a publishing label for virtual reality experiences that tie into people's wellness, so meditation experiences, exercise experiences. The company is called Orpheus Self-Care Entertainment. And the idea is that these are not eat your vegetable experiences. They're really fun things to experience that subtly work with your body just to make you more in touch with yourself. That's my thing.
Cool. What brought you to Austin?
I've lived here for like 7 years.
All right.
It's just a beautiful city.
I'm Ryan, graphic designer, just interested in what this has to offer. And I moved to Austin in '95.
What, do you have a company?
No.
Not yet?
Not yet.
What are you thinking about building?
An app that relates to like the credit card churning industry.
Interesting.
Yeah, to, I guess, to streamline your inventory or your wallet of various cards and promote new offers that are available and keep you current with the credit card rules for applying.
Cool.
My name is Gerald Alex. I'm a lawyer. I like working with small businesses, especially startups, tech companies. I have a tech background myself before law school, and I'm working with some tech companies to bring technology to my Luddite companions. There's a lot of automation, a lot of AI possibilities to advance the legal industry. I'm a Houston native. I came to Austin last month, and the motivation was Harvey.
Harvey.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had to expand myself. Had to add a second office in the Austin area to diversify geographically.
Hey there, we are Michael and Stacy Speaks. We've been here in Austin since '82, so we've been here a long time, and we have both been licensed realtors with, many of you have heard of them, Realty Austin, for the last 8 years, and based on our last 16 years of experience, we have designed, and we are currently working in development with Springbox Digital Partners. And our attorney is actually Fenwick and West LLP, who has helped lead Facebook, Uber, companies like that go from a garage to where they are today. Our company, Tourzazz, Tourzazz, is the first of its kind cloud-based SaaS, so software as a service, property tour and home buying management system for the real estate industry. And so anyways, if any of you are ever going to purchase a home, hopefully you will be using this tool very soon. So we're very excited about it. We have currently going after seed funding, and it's been recommended by a few local investors and a couple of CEOs for us to check into the Accelorator.
Cool. All right. Well, welcome. Hi.
Hi.
We're just saying our names, company you're working on, and I asked what brought you to Austin, but so far everyone's been here for a while.
Right.
Usually at these events, it's full of people who are not from here, so I was wrong on that for today.
So my name's Marianne Mayano. I've been in Austin since '99. So
all right, and this again.
Actually, I was in the hotel business forever and worked in this building
Oh,
for 10
wow.
years at the Omni. But I have invented a product that has to do with kind of the home delivery industry. And right now I'm making my prototype. Should be done by the end of August. I'm going out for funding. So it's obviously a manufactured product with a lot of development, cost involved, it'll be made in China most likely, but then it has some firmware and software as well, so it's pretty complicated, and it's nothing I've ever done before. I just had this idea. So I've got a really great chief technology officer now on board, and the lawyers and all that good stuff. But yeah, right at that point where I need to start finding investors and really get my pitch down and all that. So
All right, well, welcome.
thank you.
And last but not least.
Hey everyone, my name is Nick. I'm actually not from Austin. I just graduated from the University of Oregon in product design, and so I moved here
Nice.
hoping to start an education company that helps students create portfolios to showcase what they've learned to get jobs and internships.
So you just graduated?
Yeah.
Undergrad or grad school?
Undergrad.
And you just moved here?
Yeah.
Do you have family here?
No.
Nice.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Nice.
Awesome. That's really cool. Okay, well, hello. My name is Kelsey Kamen. I'm a venture associate for Capital Factory's Accelerator program and for our fund. And so my email's right up there. If you feel like getting in contact with me afterwards, I encourage all of you to do so. And I'll have my email back up on another slide at the end of the presentation if you miss it, but it's just Kelsey, Kelsi, at capitalfactory.com. So before I kind of get started in talking about what we do, I want to highlight something that's really important to us at Capital Factory, and that is the Texas Startup Manifesto. And so what that is basically our thesis that, alone, one of the 4 Texas cities maybe won't be able to take on, a big tech hub like Silicon Valley or New York, but combined, there's a ton of, entrepreneurial activity, investment capital, and other various resources that we believe we can tap into. And so by connecting all those resources together, we really think that, Texas can be just a really badass and fruitful startup hub here in the U.S. And also, I'll highlight 4 of the 11 largest countries are located here in Texas, between Austin, Houston, San Antonio, and Dallas. And there's a lot of activity happening in each of these cities, and so we kind of targeted Dallas as our next big city. So we've recently expanded. We've built a facility out in Dallas that opened up just about a month and a half ago. And over the last year or so, we've been going and building out our accelerator portfolio, and we've made a couple of our first investments out in Dallas too. So that's been really exciting. So there are 4 main components to Capital Factory. The first is the event side of what we do. In 2017, we hosted over 1,000 events out of our space. And that plus the co-working business that we have here is really important to mention just because of the community that fosters. We also have the accelerator and the fund, and I'll spend most of my time talking about those 2 things today. So like I mentioned, we had over 1,000 events hosted out of our space in 2017, and those events brought out over 100,000 people. And that's important to highlight just because, across all of the meetups and the hackathons and the pitch competitions that are happening here, it's very representative of the tech, I think the tech scene here in Austin. There's a ton of talent that's constantly coming through to the space, and that's something that's very important for the companies that decide to work with us. And then in addition to that, we have co-working out of our facilities. So basically anyone who's working on a tech company can either get a membership where they're like co-working 24/7, they can get a dedicated desk or an office space here. And so we have anyone from like a 1-person to 2-person tech startup all the way to companies that have raised, over $50 million that want to open up like their sales team here in Austin. So we have like BuzzFeed's here, a bunch of corporates like Oracle is running their new cloud startup program out of Capital Factory. We have DeBank, Tarmac, Texas. There's a bunch of really awesome folks working out of here. So when it comes to the accelerator, I'll mention a couple things. One, the goal is really just to help companies that have had a product launch in the market for some time. They're generating revenue typically. Once they're at that point, we can really help them in a very meaningful way. So what we're not is, we're not a bootcamp style accelerator. There are a lot of great programs that are out there that are designed to be more like super hands-on 3-month bootcamp style programs. That is kind of like what we're not. And so I like to mention that in the beginning of my conversation about the Accelerator program, just so people are really clear about the difference between our program and other ones out in the market. So there's a couple of ways that we help companies scale. And so I'll go through each of these things right here, but just wanted to kind of give a preview. But some of the things we're doing for our companies is equipping them with free co-working space. So it's as much, basically you get access to the space here for you and as many members of your team as you'd like. We help with fundraising. We have an investor relations function. We have a dedicated startup evangelist who's working hands-on with our portfolio companies, connecting them to various resources. We have a mentor network that I'll hone in on in a moment. We help with intros to potential customers and partners, and then we have a VIP program. So, like I mentioned, we invite all of the companies that get into our Accelerator program to live with us here in the space. So, to you and as many people as you'd like on your team that have access to the space, not only here but also in Dallas. So one of the main things we're helping companies with in our Accelerator program is fundraising, helping you raise either that seed round or that Series A round. And so we're doing a couple things. As soon as you join the Capital Factory Accelerator program, you're going to sit down with the managing director of our Accelerator, Gordon Doherty, and we're going to basically run through some of the strengths and weaknesses in your business, create some customized programming around whatever it is that you feel like you need to dig in on. That's maybe like not in the way, but is like the step between you raising institutional funding or getting to that next step of scaling in your business. We'll work on that with you. We help a lot with fundraising strategies, so like how much did you raise, from whom, on what terms, all those questions we'll help you answer. We do kind of private pitches in different cities. So we've done some in New York and in San Francisco, taking our companies that are fundraising up to pitch with investors in those areas, as well as in Austin and Dallas and Houston and San Antonio. We're also making introductions for you and the like. One of the key people that you work with is Freddie Purchase. He's a startup evangelist on our team. Basically becomes your guide to Capital Factory, customizes a lot of the the experience that you'll have while you're here. There's a lot of opportunities that we have that are coming to the space when various the Department of Defense is here and they want to meet with companies, or someone from NATO is going to be here this week. We have people that are working in executives from CVS Health and things like that. Whenever they're coming into the space, it really makes sense for them to meet with a targeted subset of our portfolio, and so Freddie works a lot to facilitate those introductions. We have a network of over 180 mentors. They're split pretty evenly into thirds between serial entrepreneurs, subject matter experts, and then investors. And so they take the time to sit down and meet with our portfolio founders. And it's not just the feedback and the advice; it's also the extended access to their own networks that you can tap into once you're meeting with the mentors and building relationships. We have a network of corporate partners, so there's an in-house partnerships team here at Capital Factory in Austin as well as Dallas that we're building out. Just across a bunch of government agencies, large corporations that are interested in working with companies in a lot of different ways, and so they come to us and we help them kind of plug into the best tech startups through our portfolio. So there's a couple that I mentioned earlier. We're working with corporates like Booz Allen, Oracle, the Department of Defense, Walmart Labs, and a bunch more. We have a VIP program here, so basically a couple of people on staff whose whole job is to, work with these folks, from whether it's Mayor Adler or Barack Obama or Satya Nadella from Microsoft when they're coming to town, and help our companies get plugged in with those folks in the best way. So really, our first priority is our Accelerator companies when these folks are visiting Capital Factory. We have an awesome team. So this is just some of the directors that we have working on the team. Josh Baer is our executive director and founder. He started and sold a couple email marketing companies and helped start companies like WP Engine, which is a company I think valued over $1 billion here in town. Gordon Doherty is the managing director of our Accelorator. He's really hands-on with our portfolio companies, and he's again had a ton of experience starting and scaling large technology companies. Worked in a variety of sales and marketing functions, and studied computer science at Baylor University. And I mean, among the rest of our directors, they have experience that spans from military and veteran affairs to health tech to education, international affairs. So we're really kind of like our team's experience and network doesn't span one vertical per se. We're kind of plugged into a lot of different types of technologies and verticals. This is a couple folks on my team who are working with the directors. We have an accelerator coordinator, Grace Froome, who's very hands-on from the operations point of view with our companies. I mentioned Freddie before. Nick heads up our investor relations program, and then myself, Haley, and Areej that are venture associates out and about in the community and really getting companies plugged into the space. So I mentioned the Accelerator program. So between the fundraising, the intros to customers and partners, and then the mentor network, all of that is really designed, again, for companies that have had a product launched in the market for some time. We feel like we can come in and really help them scale in a meaningful way. So we're not investing through the Accelerator. It's a 6-month program. We take 1% advisor equity, and we have applications open every other month. So we're constantly kind of bringing in new cohorts. And then we also invest. So we're investing out of Capital Factory Fund 5, as well as our Partners Fund. And the thesis behind how we invest is really very simple. We like to invest in founders that we know really well and that we know we can help. And so a natural pool of those entrepreneurs are the ones that we're getting to know through the Accelerator program, that we're helping through the Accelerator program. So we've been the most active investor in Texas since 2013 in early stage tech, according to PitchBook. And with our Dallas expansion, I think it's only going to pick up. So people are constantly asking, what do you look for when you're kind of making an investment, or when I'm out there raising money in Texas? What are the criteria that I need to be thinking about? And I always point people to this blog post that Josh Bayer wrote. And really what he talks about in here is just some of this key baseline criteria that is going to be consistent among most investors that you talk to when you're pitching to raise money. I definitely encourage you to take down that link and visit, read that blog post in depth. But one of the things is, a team to believe in. Why is your team uniquely qualified to solve the problem that you're going after, or to build a product that you're building? Are you building something that's in a fast-growing and large market? That's also quite important. So investors can see just how big the opportunity is that they're putting their money into. Meaningful customer traction can manifest itself in different ways. It could be, it could be paying customers, but it could also be letters of intent from potential, paying customers. It could be pilots. It could be user, downloads if you're a B2C app. It really varies depending on the type of company that you're building. Social proof from a key investor. This is just a lot of times, when you're out there raising money, other investors like to see that someone else has decided to put their money into your company, and that's just it's not a requirement by any means, but it's something that I think does make a difference when you're raising. And then, of course, an MVP is kind of an expectation. They're numbered, but I wouldn't say that they're ranked in any particular way here. So applications for our next Accelerator cycle are open right now on AngelList. You can go to angel.co/capitalfactory and see the applications there. We'll close applications on August 17th, and from there our team basically gets together, we review applications, we deliberate, we talk about the companies, and we select a certain number of those companies to come interview with us at the end of the month. So that's kind of how our Accelerator process works and how we invest. I'm open to taking some questions. Sure.
Okay, question. As far as the AngelList,
Mm-hmm.
We have a profile set up, we just haven't gone public with it yet. on AngelList, because we've heard from a few investors that certain stages of startups that you're kind of tipping your hand, in a sense, to go live with your profile. And I noticed that for the Accelerator, for the application, you have to have your profile public on AngelList. So is that do you know if that's a requirement?
That, I mean, so it sounds like the first part of your question was, or was kind of saying you're not ready to go public yet.
Well,
Like,
it's with the, because it is, to have the best profile, you ideally would have your pitch deck,
yeah.
everything uploaded to AngelList, and then you go public. Otherwise, you've got minimal information. Or is it okay to go public with minimal information as a requirement for the application?
I mean, I think that there are elements of, so there's elements of your AngelList profile that get pulled into the application that we see.
Okay.
And so there's like several questions that you answer, but it also populates info, about the team, about like the product, and things like that. So, I mean, you want to have your profile as filled out as possible before you submit.
Okay.
So yes, you need to have a public profile.
Sure. Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. I just wasn't sure if there was another way around that.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's not.
Okay.
But having an AngelList profile is a great tool, just period, like in the community.
Mhm.
There's a lot of, first of all, it ranks really well on SEO. So when people look up your company, that's one of the first things they're going to see. And it's just kind of like an established resource for investors in the community. So I think it's like an expectation, just like having a Crunchbase profile is.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Crunchbase?
Crunchbase.
What's that?
Crunchbase?
Yeah.
It's a crowdsourced database of startup and venture capital information. So basically, you can go on and create a profile for your company or for a person or for, I don't know, like an investor or something like that. And you kind of like submit that, and it's like a social graph, but for startups, investors, and like products and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's a really great resource if you're fundraising, because you can create like, you can basically look up any venture capitalist. You can see their portfolio, their investments, how long they've been investing, people on their team, and things like that. So it's a really great resource.
That's Crunchbase, CRUNCH?
Yeah, crunchbase.com.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Yeah. That was like a lot of
I was
questions.
about to say, you can tell he was recently in college. Look at this. But thanks.
Is there like a team size you guys look for?
No. I wouldn't say there's a team size we look for, but I mean, having a great team generally means there's more than one person on board, right? So I mean, I think it's more about the like makeup of your team and like what everyone's working on versus how many people are on it.
And how long has the Accelerator been going on? When was it started?
We've been around for almost a decade. So the very first Accelerator cohort that we brought in was in 2009, I believe. I actually think this next slide I had on here was this is a company called Squarefoot. They're one of probably our this is one of the most successful companies we've brought in, we've invested in. They were in our very first cohort back in 2009. The founders, Chuck and Mario, moved here after graduating from UCLA. And basically what it is it's like Airbnb for self-storage. They've raised over $60 million from some top tier investors, and they've done very, very well. But yeah.
What's the curriculum?
So if you listen to what if you remember what I said in the start of the conversation, we're not a boot camp style accelerator. So when you come in here, it's not like every day is like 9 to 5 and there's like different like workshops, right? There are programs that do that. We're not one of them. That said, we basically like to create more like customized programming around whatever it is that you need. So when you join, like we're sitting down with you and you're sitting down with Gordon, the MD of our accelerator, and if it's like channel partnerships you need to talk about, or if it's like scaling an engineering team, those are like topics that we can kind of like create content around and work with you on.
I just thought there was a slide with general topics you covered. I wasn't sure.
Oh, I thought you were asking me about like a curriculum for the accelerator program.
Not exact, like to the day.
These are the resources that we provide in the program. These are Is this what you were talking about?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Cool.
And then, what's the class size?
So we bring new cohorts every other month, and the size of that really varies. We get around like 80 plus applications per cycle, and we'll invite, we could invite 10 companies to come to interviews. We could invite 15 if we wanted to. It really varies, and then the number we accept also tends to vary, but I would say it's between like 8 and 15 maybe right now. And then I'll also mention just because the word curriculum was mentioned, our MD Gordon Doherty hosts a quarterly Founders Academy, and that's like the Founders Academy is more of a boot camp style thing, but it's over the course of 1 week, and it's like lunch and learns. So he goes through several topics each day of that week over the lunch hour, and that's a really, really, really useful, informative, I think curriculum to have to be like very knowledgeable about as a founder. So I definitely encourage to go to y'all to go to the next one.
What is that?
Founders Academy. And if you could probably just Google Founders Academy Capital Factory, and I'm sure some resources would pop up. If not, you can email me and help you figure that out. We also have a round of Epic Office Hours coming up. I should have put that on the slide. I didn't. It's basically from 12 to 4 p.m. on next Tuesday, August 7th. We'll do a round of speed dating style sessions with a bunch of mentors. And so it's a great opportunity for you to interface with a bunch of mentors in our network and get feedback on what you're working on. So
do you
definitely.
Have to be a member to do that, or can I?
So it's no, you don't. It's open to the public, but you do have to submit an application online.
Okay.
Yeah. I would let me just look it up really quickly while we're here. Let's see. Okay, so it's info here. I can write it down if you guys want. info.capitalfactory.com/epic office hours.
And how often are those? I'm on vacation next week.
I think we do them once a month.
Okay.
And it's always going to be at this link, I believe, so it'll get updated.
Epic Office Hours.
Epic Office Hours. I highly recommend getting on the mailing list, our events list, because all this stuff is always in there. Like the Epic Office Hours, the Founders Academy boot camps are always in the events newsletter that we put out. So.
Do you know if these are many of the same founders and mentors within Central Texas Angel Network?
Sorry?
The CTAN?
Yeah.
You know if they're a lot of the same founders?
There's some overlap, but
Okay.
I think there's folks that are not, there are different pools, but there's definitely overlap.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I would say that we have a lot more, we have a lot of different people in our mentor network. So.
Okay.
I have a couple more questions. What are some of the, besides Sparefoot, what are a couple other really cool companies that have come out of that? And
Sure.
Also, do you have a favorite one that's currently in it right now?
Ooh, I'm being recorded, so I don't know if I should say favorites, but I like a lot of our companies. So actually, I think I put a couple other companies on here. Aceable is another really awesome one. So Aceable is basically, it's like a mobile app for drivers education. Also, I think they're doing real estate education now. They've raised a couple rounds of funding from some awesome investors, including Floodgate Fund, which is Mike Maple's fund. Then I think Great Joy is another, that's a great one. They're like a subscription box, hosting platform. And they went through Y Combinator as well as our Accelerator program. And I raised from some top tier investors, including Andreessen Horowitz and CRV.
Is Crate Joy?
Crate Joy, yeah. And in terms of I'm really excited about a bunch of different companies that have come into Cap Factory. One I really like right now is Chrono GG. They are basically a digital distribution platform for games for AA and AAA publishers, game publishers. So if you're familiar with the gaming industry, they're a really cool one to watch. And they're also kind of building out a programmatic influencer marketing platform to distribute those games to the public.
How do you spell it? Chrono?
Chrono.gg. They're cool.
CHR.
Oh yeah, they could be relevant for you to check out for sure.
Yeah.
Chrono with K?
They're officing out here in our accelerator.
How do you spell that?
CHRONO.gg.
How do you spell GG?
GG, like the letter G.
Good game. Good.
Yeah, good game. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, they're cool. There's a bunch. Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Yeah, they sound like people would be useful for us.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely a great VR community here. I don't know if you've met with Brant. He's our emerging technology person here.
Oh boy.
He runs the VR lab on 5. We have a whole VR team actually. You should definitely get plugged in with.
Yeah. Could I just email you and would you introduce me?
Yep, for sure. Happy to.
Okay, what's the sweet spot for the typical raise?
Typical fundraise?
Yes.
So it depends on the type of company, type of technology, and like all that, right? So let's just say that for like B2B SaaS, right? In general, that's like what Austin's mostly made up of. So it really, like in 2018, I'm seeing that companies are raising a couple more rounds than they used to get to kind of like the same, I don't know, I would say like 500K is like the average size for like a pre-seed raise,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll probably raise like $1 million in like an institutional seed raise maybe. So like 1.5 before you get to Series A. That's like me just completely spitballing to you, but based on what I see, that's my perspective.
So it's interesting that I've been in touch with some key investment and venture capital firms around the United States, and it really feels like the recent shift is that the old seed is now the pre-seed, and then the old Series A is now the seed.
Yep, exactly.
And so what I'm hearing is Capital Factory is not scared of a pre-seed kind of setup.
Yeah, I mean, there's pre-seeds are 100% valid in 2018.
Okay.
I think everyone's raising them. I don't think that should be the mindset per se. I think it should still be like keep burn low and like, don't raise until you need to. But yeah.
Okay.
What does that mean, a pre-seed?
Just when people raise money before they raise like a real institutional seed round, maybe they're raising like angel money. Maybe you're, like going through an accelerator, and if the accelerator provides funding up front, you attach that to like the angel money that you're raising.
Is there like a tip of, what would you say the split is in terms of industry and technology that is going to the accelerator? It's a really complicated question. I don't know if you have data on it, but like, I know there's a lot more people going through the accelerator who are doing software versus hardware. Is that a correct statement?
So, I mean, I would say there's probably like a 15 to 20% representation in our portfolio of like hardware, IoT, like non just pure software companies, but majority of the companies we're working with are software.
And are there any specific industries more than others?
Top verticals that are represented include, not in this order, but they include retail, real estate tech, fintech, entertainment is one really big one, and like I think I said fintech. Those are some of the ones.
Finance tech?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Do you have any wellness companies, conscious development companies, things like that?
Wellness companies, yeah. Be Well is one in the portfolio. Another one is, let me think. We have more. I'd have to look. Top of my head, Be Well is one. I know for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Melly Price is, yeah.
Are there any ed tech?
Yes, quite a few. Square Cap is one. There are more. That's one off the top of my head. There's a great EdTech meetup that happens here if you're in EdTech and you're interested in EdTech.
How do you spell Be Well? B-E-W?
B.well.
Thank you.
So you kind of mentioned it before. I think, a lot of people are very protective of their IP. How do you go about protecting people's intellectual property and like you said, putting everything on your profile for the public? how.
There's surely just people out there that are trolling all the time for ideas, and that's what you do when you put your info, your profile out there on an angel.
And of all places, here would be a place for all these brilliant people, but that's a good idea.
So in
I know that's ridiculous, but explain it to me.
So in some regard, it's like I definitely understand where people come from when they pose that question. But really what matters more than anything else is like executing on your idea, right? And so if there are tons of companies that have like open sourced what they do and think like, I mean, their code is literally just like sitting on the web, right? And really just what matters is being able to like execute and like deliver on that, right? So I mean, if someone can hear about what you're working on and then all of a sudden they've put together a team and they have built a product and they're raising money and they're making sales and they're building this big company, like I mean just like good for them, but the odds of that happening, right, are kind of like, and also you need to be willing to like put what you're doing out there to get feedback and to really just get access to resources and to really get anywhere. So
Well, and a great point. A prominent investor within C10 recently told us, he looked at me and said, do you know how incredibly difficult it is to start a company? You know, and so many people, even if you had your ideas out there, the fact that a very small portion of the population can even act upon it.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a
Can or would, so.
can or would, yes.
As far as product design, I mean, that's more patentable than software. It's a lot more, if you have an actual product, it's a lot easier to get a patent on that than, say, software code.
True.
So you're in a little bit different space.
Right. Very true. And mine's, it is combination of an app and a product. So do many people have like big, difficult to manufacture products that they're getting quotes from China and all that?
Yes.
Like, will I be able to get that kind of mentorship?
Yes,
Okay.
there's a bunch of companies that have either like if IoT, like software plus hardware plays. We have mentors that have experience in like different elements of manufacturing, distribution, and like physical product design too, as well as technology. So,
How do we, my company is a publisher of other projects,
okay.
and all of the projects that we're working with are pre-market. I mean,
When you say publisher, what do you mean? What does that mean?
okay, so a game publisher, like
So you're a game publisher?
basically,
Okay.
but a game publisher that produces content, funds, produces, helps get that content access to market. But it's specifically content that is wellness oriented, in a way that, like one of our projects is a dance game. So you're moving, and it's really with a mind of getting people in their body. And one of our projects is an experience that resembles a psychedelic drug. So it's kind of pulls you inward into a meditative state. All of these projects, yeah, they're really cool. All these projects are pre-market because this whole market, the market of these sorts of entertainment technologies, we believe is sort of just beginning. The tip of the iceberg is just sort of beginning to emerge, but it's an emerging tech space. And I have relationships with the transformational technology and consciousness hacking movements in San Francisco, but I'm drawn to what you said about, one of the things you're looking for is customer traction. We have very minimal customer traction with those because what we see our services as doing is massaging and creating the market so that these products can flourish. And I'm wondering how I should be approaching not only this, but sort of maybe more broadly fundraising as a whole, but this specifically, how I should be approaching this given that all of the teams we're working with are pre-market.
Are you a member here?
Yeah.
Okay. Sign up for my office hours and we can like dig in.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
Great.
There's another question. Like if after you're in, what would you say are the common mistakes teams make when they're in?
Common mistakes?
Yeah.
I would say not like being proactive enough, taking advantage of the resources that are here. It can be really easy to, I think, like, yeah, and maybe just, I think like you have to be aware and like you have to go out and, take the meetings and meet with the mentors and follow up with them and, I don't know, engage with our team, the Accelorator team, like get to know us, because, the better we know you, the more helpful we can be. So.
What are the best questions we haven't asked?
I feel like there are really good questions here. Like I enjoyed answering a bunch of these questions because they were thoughtful and I hadn't already answered them in my pitch. So I feel like all y'all asked really good questions.
What do you think is the most important thing we should be asking ourselves when we're applying to the Accelerator?
I can tell you what I think the most important question, one of the most important questions is that you should ask yourself, like not related to the Accelerator, but like as a founder building a company, am I building something that is solving a real need for other people? What is my unique competitive advantage? What sets what I'm doing apart from what anyone else is doing? What's my moat? Like what makes this super defensible? Those are questions I think that are important to answer.
Moat? M-O-T?
M-O-A-T. Building a moat.
Warren Buffett talks a lot about it. He only invests in companies that have a competitive moat.
M-O-A-T?
Yeah,
Like a moat around your castle.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
So it could be something like IP or something like
I wouldn't say
so
it's yeah.
IP, but something or just being so big that's really hard for people to.
There's a lot of cool ways to think about it.
Yeah.
There's a VC who's written a bunch about it before.
Do you know who that is?
Yeah, Leo Polovets, P-O-L-O-V-E-T-S.
P-O-L-O-V-E-T-S.
He has a good blog called Coding VC. You should look up.
Coding VC.
Yeah, I like his blog.
And what were the other things that you were saying? You were saying, what is my moat?
I mean, unique advantage, right? What sets you apart from the other competitors in the space, and being very clear about the problem that exists, and being very clear about how the solution you're building adequately matches the medium of the right, the medium of the solution matches the level of the problem and all that. Because you can build a mobile app for everything, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're in the accelerator or just kind of in the program going through with your business, do you help people exit, or you're kind of on your own when that happens? Like, how long are you a part of this?
So the co-working ends in 6 months, but really all the other resources and benefits stay. You can, engage with the investor function really anytime, investor relations function, anytime, for example. The company I mentioned earlier, I think I highlighted Aceable. They were with us before they raised any money. They went through our accelerator program, right? And when it came time for Blake to start thinking about raising Series A funding, he came back to us and sat down with Nick, who leads the investor relations program, and we helped him with fundraising strategy for that too. And so, we want to keep doing that through the Series B and the C and beyond. Did I answer your question?
Kind of. It sounds like whatever stage you're in, you have resources. Right?
Yeah. Exactly.
And so I still work full time.
Okay.
So do people still do I need to wait to do the 6-month thing when I'm brave enough to quit my job and have some savings there, because the money I'm using is in my business account now, and I want to use it for consultants and marketing, and
we're big on founders should be working on the company full time.
Right.
There's you get to that point of seriousness.
Hardcore.
You get to that point of seriousness, and then when you leave the program, you don't go back to your full time job. You are off to the races, right?
Right.
The mentality is that you're going to be building this business for 10 years, right?
Yeah. So you really just kind of
Gotta be.
need to be prepared. Yeah.
I think it's very important that
to support
founders
yourself
are
for
at
3 to
least
6 months until you get some funding and just.
Another question. If you are looking at the application and it doesn't seem like your company is ready yet, would you have any normal boot camps or anything like that beyond the one you suggested before for people to go through?
So if you're too early for Capital Factory's Accelerator, what are other resources you can engage with that would be helpful? So if you join Capital Factory as a member, you actually get access to a large subset of the mentor network. So I think that's really helpful because you can go to office hours and you can sit down with mentors and get feedback on what you're working on. So I think being a member here is one way to do that if you have the resources to do so, because it costs money to co-work here. I think there are other accelerator programs that exist out here in Austin. You should definitely look into those. And, I think that Founders Academy is something you'd want to look at depending on how early you are. There's a lot of stuff that is really useful. That's what Gordon runs every quarter.
What
So
is that? Founders Academy?
when?
Oh, no, what is that?
So it's basically just a list of topics that are like really important to first-time founders for you to like know. Gordon basically just does he teaches about that essentially. So it could be things related to fundraising, things like on the legal side, from sales, from customer acquisition. There's a whole, if you Google it, there's a whole bunch of stuff. You can see all the criteria, like all the curriculum.
Do you have any, just one of my preferred learning methods is reading books. Do you have any books you'd recommend?
Yeah. Venture Deals by Brad Feld.
Reading that.
Okay. Let's see. I would recommend like all of Paul Graham's essays. If you haven't read that, Paul Graham is the founder of Y Combinator. He has some excellent essays, and they're like very OG. Books. There's so many books. I mean, I read 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel like 10 times. I really love that book.
What's it called?
0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. What kinds of topics are you looking for?
Oh, I'm a first-time founder, so just
Yeah.
I
I would recommend blogs more than books, investor blogs, because they cut through, like, a lot of times you don't need 300 pages to explain a very, to explain a business concept, right?
So you said 0 to 1 by who?
Peter Thiel.
Peter, T-E...
Thiel.
Thiel. Any particular blogs you recommend?
Yes. I recommend, so like I said, Paul Graham's essays are really good. The YC blog has good content on it, period. I think subscribing to some newsletters is a good call. So Term Sheet is a good one. That's one of Fortune's newsletters. I recommend, let's see. Oh my God, there's so many. I think I told you. I think I recommend being on Twitter more than anything else, like Twitter and like investor blogs. Hunter Walk has a good blog. Hunter Walk with Homebrew Ventures has a really good blog. Let's see. Oh, of course, Gordon Doherty, has a great a blog called Shockwave Innovations. Look that up. A lot of great content on there. Shockwave Innovations. That's Gordon's blog. I think I like Semil Shah's blog. It's called Haystack. SEMIL SHAH. Semil Shah. He's a good one.
We found Quora very helpful too.
Yeah.
Quora.
Yep. Quora has good.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff from people in the tech community. Yep.
Q-U-O-R-E?
ORA.
Quora.
Cool. All right. Anyone have any other questions?
Is it almost over? Is this?
Yeah, I think we have a couple minutes left, but yeah, I'm done. That's all the
So
info I got for
if
you.
I look into kind of co-working before I'm ready to quit my job. There's tours on Tuesdays or something?
Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays at 4 p.m.
Okay.
So there's actually a public tour getting started in the next 8-9 minutes. So if you walk back out to the lobby where you just were, Melissa will come out and meet you. Melissa is our memberships coordinator, and she'll give you a great tour and to kind of talk more in depth about what co-working looks like here, because I focus more on the Accelorator and the fun side of things. So,
Cool.
Yep. Cool. Well, thanks, y'all. You all get my contact info, so feel free to get in touch.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Kelsey.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds good. Have a good day, everyone.
You too.
Actually, I'm curious just about you and how, if I could walk with you first.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, what's your, so you're here working with Capital Factory. What were you doing?
Thank you too.
We get the whole, we gotta put the big one.
Right? Yeah,
Like the bad part.
Right. At least you've had two of you, right? You can
Yeah,
kind of
that's
tag
true.
team, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, you have this business, you
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
sell some houses.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're doing right now.
That's right. That's right.
I'm sitting here trying to line up inspectors for a client while he's like taking all
Doing
this.
this, yeah. And so do you, I was worried coming here, just be like,
Oh, yeah. On that, do you want to go?
right, and now what's that, it's like, three people this, and here.
You're never old enough to found a company.
Well, and I think you're never old enough or too old, right? I mean, yeah, it's hard.
mean, definitely, you know, you go into environments and you can feel that way, but I also, you know, I think it's how you spin it in your own head.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
and it's like you bring more wisdom and experience to the table because of where you've been, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And you wouldn't be able to create what you're creating without having the journey you've had.
Yeah. Are y'all thinking of?
We
Well,
have-
we have, in some
We've done a lot.
aspects, we have really gone, to what some people are telling us is well beyond an accelerator.
Okay,
But
right.
for us, it's about dotting our i's, crossing our t's, you know, just really
Mhm.
making sure because we're really getting heavily involved in, matter of fact, our developer's in that building right there.
Okay.
And he's kind of given us some tips, you know,
He's an angel investor himself, and
Yeah.
he's our first investor.
Okay.
But he's kind of given us some direction and just things that he feels like we should do to kind of turn over stones.
Mhm.
So, which is why what has kind of been on our list, just it's
Yeah.
getting in
My-
conversation
my
with other people.
Commercial attorney is like, go get a, just
Yeah.
go get a desk over there and check it out.
yeah,
So.
yeah, and we've,
We're in the middle of development right now.
Okay.
But we're very much on the front end, like we bootstrapped enough to get us through the design phase,
Right.
but not development. So
Mhm.
that's gonna be like an additional 700,000, and then we need some runway to actually take it to the market. So
Right.
we're raising $1 million right now.
Yeah.
So, but we're in the middle of doing that.
Right.
So,
Awesome. Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, I'll do, you know, like friends and family and just get
Yeah.
a prototype or whatever. I'm like, you know what, screw that. I'm just going, I need like 4 million or something to
Yeah.
really get,
yeah.
do the testing, get all the
Yeah.
design development done, do the testing, get my first
Mhm.
round of orders and.
Yes.
Well, a big first step
But
is not to be
let's-
afraid of 4 million.
Right, exactly.
You
That's
know
what
what I
it
mean?
says. That's what
You know
I was
what I'm
like,
saying?
why am I gonna kill myself for 150,000? I could
Yeah.
kill myself for 5 million.
Right,
You know?
Yeah, and just share part of your company with someone else and
Exactly.
be 3 times as rich
Right?
down the road.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, maybe I'll see you guys around.
Yeah, definitely. Best of luck to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's perfect, Sebastian. What?
Ladies and gentlemen,
The House.
But the worst experience was in Tokyo. There's one of the highest buildings in the world, and then they have a glass floor, and you can walk on that glass floor. I just walked quickly over it, but I was Tokyo Tower leaders. Actually, they built a bridge like that. They built a bridge like that in China.
Glass is attached very well.
It's got the ability to display video on glass.
Oh, yeah,
So you
say
saw
that.
this? Yeah. Yeah.
Alexa or something? What is it?
What
is that? Yeah, some kind of
Alexa.
service.
Something you don't have?
Are you listening to this?
I don't know.
Mabel.
I don't use it. I don't.
You don't know what is this, but you.
Apparently, it's plugged in.
Yeah, Mario's coming or?
He was stuck with working on something. I don't know what. So we'll see if it shows up. He probably doesn't know where to find it.
So we're gonna flesh out a couple of ideas. So what's the next step?
So did you guys follow the steps in what Philip did earlier with the scan up page?
I
don't know.
You were looking at it with Mario? Was it?
The scanner that we used?
Oh, the scanner.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, although we discussed maybe not integrating with the scanner, but first making an app to
Well, there would be two things.
show off the glass and scanning and a barcode and bringing up some data.
That's one of them. And another one would be mirroring the same functionality. Much like, well, you weren't there for the discussion with I don't even remember the name of the guy. What was the name of the group that came in this morning?
Okay.
Okay, yeah. We explained it to them. The idea would be using some kind of AR, get the thing, scan the code,
Yeah.
and then be able to transfer the information for what you're scanning into Excel or into their ERP
Yeah.
or into something.
No, I was there.
Oh, you were? Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you were there.
Yeah. Yeah, we can certainly do that, especially after looking at the web application that you had there, and it's pretty straightforward.
Well, it's straightforward, but my question is, if you're using standalone like Google Glass,
Yeah.
how do you get there? Do you
Yeah.
just watch all that stuff from within Google Glass?
No, but, so we can, for instance, so you make an application for Google Glass that scans the product ID, and we can send the product ID to a database or make an API call or something, and then you could have a web interface on a PC. I mean, there's not
Well, that's the
much
part,
way to
that's
do it,
it's
but-
that handoff that I have a hard time visualizing. So, doing it straight within the PC, it's all doing it all in the same place.
Sure.
And so you're just using mechanisms that you're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
But if you scan something through a standalone
Mhm.
AR interface, how do you get it to your?
Because there's an application, like a mobile application attached to that scanning,
Right.
and that mobile application can make HTTP calls, REST calls to an application on a server somewhere that could
So
then
it's a separate machine.
be on the PC,
Yeah.
and
So we'd have to
bring
think that.
JSON data into the.
That makes sense
Yeah.
conceptually, but
Sure.
I'm trying to imagine as a user experience.
Like realistic.
Who would use it? I
Mhm.
mean, what is this saving me by having to
Yeah.
do it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
Well,
catching
much-
the documents, for example.
Reading them, you mean?
Yeah.
So if you need to
Safety
read
data
them,
should
'cause my
be
sense of it isn't that they read them.
Yeah.
The shipping, receiving
But
guys?
see, the hands-free lab application in the
I'm not
whole
talking, I'm
lens.
talking about the current use case, the receiving guy, not the shipping guy.
He needs two things. The one is what you explained, register the product he has in his hands, that it is there in the system. Yeah.
And the other thing he might know is what is the safety data sheet telling me? Can I store it in A or in B? Now, when you have different warehouse classes.
So he needs to develop.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so then we need to figure out, is that compelling enough? And do we need to mock something up and run it by some people, or can we get a sense of it? Because that's the part that maybe it's my limited brain capacity, I don't know. Conceptually, I can't see, if someone gave that to me, I'd be like, this is not that useful, I wouldn't use this.
Just so we are clear, can you run through the whole workflow
Correct. Steve?
where it starts, who are the people who are scanning this? I mean, where does the product go, and are there different kinds of people, depending on the type of person, is it pulling different information? If you can.
My sense of it is that there's only one user population, right? No, then you better go.
My opinion is that you can really imagine through the whole supply chain and history of a product, the usage. It really begins in our own plants, where we already use 1D barcodes for verification. Is there really a label put on every box we produced? This is a current process we use. And it is not very robust on 1D barcodes, and it will be better on 2D barcodes. So this will already be after filling the first application. Then we put it in a warehouse internally. There we update at the moment the warehouse internally in Gernsheim with now scanning the 2D barcode. Then the product is leaving our warehouse and is sold. Yeah, and on the way you can register it. It is going to the truck and to the warehouse of the distributor.
Are you saying they do all these things today with ScanNow?
No.
We're talking about current process and current user populations.
When you think it is at the start, we have now 5,000 products being
what we're trying to do here is figure out what we do today and how we can map that onto an AR interface. And if you've got lots of use cases, just lots of things that don't exist yet, we need to map those all out. Otherwise, how can they help us?
Yeah, maybe you can just put it and saying this is and the 2B,
I
and
want
then
just to explain what can be the applications and you come.
You do what you want, but I'm close to this and I didn't understand half of what you just said.
Okay.
So I don't know how helpful it's going to be unless you map it out. Because
then maybe ask me questions. What want you to know?
What he, I'm going to put words in your mouth. Well, what he said was explaining how we're using it today, so that he can understand who's using the application, and if it's more than one group, how do those different groups use ScanNow today differently?
And when they scan, do they get different information popping up?
I can say no. The answer is no. The information that comes up is always the same for everybody. It's based on the information that comes from the product. The only time the information changes is because not every product has the same documentation. But apart from that, it's the same.
It's the same, okay.
And the existence of the documents is dependent, well, is derived from that API that we were talking about earlier. And so the API is smart enough to know where, if the document exists, and if it does exist, it puts a link to it there.
Got it.
So you don't need to log in, there's no privileged access, anyone can use it, and the users are irrelevant from a systems perspective. Now, how to use it, that's the part where I don't know that much. So when someone scans from the ScanNow page, apart from that shipping receiving guy, who else is using it today?
What we know is that we have a customer, MSD Rexel, who asked for or submitted a product list and asked for a data content of the products. This ENGT number, which is the 1D and also the 2D barcode. And they want to use it in their warehouse process. So this will be exactly what I described.
ScanNow now in their warehouse process. I think you were talking about where is ScanNow used.
But here you can, I don't know if they use now, maybe also classes, maybe not now. But I think then we maybe have a different understanding what the purpose of the application would be.
No.
It is a demo for me it is also a demo to just describe what we can do with the barcode.
I think it's if you go and you just look at where ScanNow is used potentially now, you would limit it, because if you go mobile, then you're mobile. I mean, in a warehouse, you don't carry your laptop or your computer around with your scanners. You don't do that. I think to be honest, I would make this app as generic as possible, and then you can use it in multiple areas.
We're explaining what it is today first, and then once the understanding that's a baseline, and then we can talk about how.
Okay.
Is that fair? I mean, because remember, we're super close.
Yeah,
so
sure,
they're
sure.
not. So you guys, I mean, it's pretty basic what it does today. You guys cool with it based on what you saw on what I just said?
Yeah.
So now maybe what we can do is decide, based on your question, can we imagine a situation where different user population would see different things depending on who they are? I can't, but what would they see different? I would have to say
Warehouse would look for a safety data sheet, and the lab would, on production, would look for the COA and quality.
If they're both seeing the same thing, are we proposing hiding those things so that we're talking about what they see? So we would need a way for the system to identify that they're QA people and differentiate the output based on the quality of their role. Is that what we're hoping to do?
We're not forcing users to log in.
Well, maybe I'm misunderstanding your point. What you're saying is
maybe I put
different people see different things.
different people interested in different things like that. I mean,
Well, they're interested, but the number of things is pretty small.
All right, yeah.
So maybe we don't need to.
So there's no role-based data or something. Everyone sees. Okay.
So then the question will be, can you envision a time when there will be so much more data that we would want to preferentially put different things on? I can't, but.
No, because the data won't increase. I mean, that would be business activity which would need to come, and I don't see that, to be honest.
Yeah,
The
as
only
long
thing-
as we rely on the PDP page, the invitation is there. Yeah. And it was a question of one of the product managers. Yeah, who's responsible for the data? You, as a product manager, are responsible for your product data. And where is it stored? On the PDP. I explained to the product manager. So at the end.
But the one thing I see is that there is probably apart from that functional, operational, quality, safety, whatever related topic, there's simply a marketing need, so that people scan stuff and see marketing contact. But again, this is not happening in a warehouse then, that this is happening somewhere else in a lab, in another
For cell
environment.
culture media, at the moment they have on their product labels a web link, and at the end it is a PDP link, and there is a brochure, and there's information how to use the specific cell culture media. Really a guide, put water inside, stir it for half an hour, and then use it. Make it easy. So these are and this will be more in the lab.
So that would be a different user population, so the guy in the lab, I'll say guy, person in the lab.
Or you speak you are teaching me, not opposite.
The person in the lab scans the product. They're not seeing anything different, they just click different links from other people, so we don't need to change it.
No.
So I would say it's pretty straightforward still, so.
But that's the last person in the whole chain who's interested in, I don't know, videos and things like that.
Yes.
Rest all they care is it a COA?
Yep, and if they wanna get to the videos and stuff, they can click through to the product detail page and read it all there. So they can still do it, they just need to click one more time. So then I would have to go back to the stuff you were talking about where I got totally lost. So those people are on the other end, those are our internal people who are looking at these barcodes. Are they gonna use ScanNow?
Not at the moment.
So I'll be
Because
asking.
we are at the moment updating these scanners. But on the other hand, I am in contact with the PT guys and the site operations guys in Darmstadt who are updating or qualifying iPads, X-Zone accessible smartphones to also scan barcodes in X-Zones in production areas. So this is something, and they're scanning the whole plant for 500,000. So they are working on all these topics at the moment, but it needs time.
So then the question is, are we gonna help them? I mean, are we planning on doing something for them?
Maybe we're collecting new data points, for one thing, right? It's sending a lot of information for tracking the products.
And for the internal people, especially in the warehouse and in the plant, it's a workflow where it needs to go here, then they have to do something, and then they push it forward before it leaves our sites.
I'm not one you could template. I mean, for every warehouse, for every site, it will look differently, and I'm not sure.
So, I guess what I'm asking is, do we want to start with what it does now and what we need to do now, and then maybe approach it at that point once it's done to see if we can expand it, or do we want to?
Well, Scan Now is for me the road one. Yeah. Scan Now,
But that's the one application.
two things. You have the data, the result, and the document section.
But we're talking about two things, right? One is our demo where you scan the barcode and we map basically the barcode string to a new content piece, and we just do a demo for 3 examples, and then we can go to a franchise and say, hey, you can map all those strings to different content, whatever you like. That's the one thing, and the other thing would be replicating Scan Now on a mobile version. Yeah? Okay, good.
Okay, so one is a demo. I didn't totally catch all that, but one is a demo using, is that the Google Glass demo to kind of show off the technology, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And then the second thing is a mobile application that's more practical, like for actual use in the.
Which is mirroring some of the functionality of Scan Now, yeah.
Okay. Well,
So assuming we don't have a device like this, how do we do it with a mobile device?
Yeah, because in India, at the CPH I do, the feedback was the most times customers ask, have you an app? So, have you an app? This was in India.
Everyone asks, but I'm still not convinced that anyone who's actually going to use the page would ever actually use the app. But fine, people are asking, it's easy to do, so maybe we should just do it. But it's already built to be responsive to Scan Now, and you can pass a URL with the barcode in it, so it's super straightforward. You just scan the barcode, pass the URL, and 10 minutes.
And so, just to be clear, so we're talking about making a new demo app that.
No, that's different. This is the practical thing.
Okay.
And what Sebastian is proposing, I think you should explain in greater detail.
Well, you have the glasses, you scan the barcode, the string you're scanning is basically then pointing you to content, and in our demo we could put the content within the app, yeah? And we basically put in 3 examples, so maybe one string is leading you to a PDF, the other one to a video, and the third one, I don't know, a slideshow, presentation, whatever. And that's for our trade show, just to show what all these glasses could work in relation with our barcode, yeah? And next step for us obviously would be then going to the franchise and the product managers and everyone and showing them that. And then we have to talk about how would we expand that if we are talking about, let's say, 2,000 content pieces and 2,000 strings. Is there a database we build, and how do we do the mapping? Because there will be multiple products basically mapping to the same content. But that will be the next step if we go from demo to really something our business would like to use. And then that's also the question, does it have to stay glasses as a scanning method, or would that be also rather a mobile application?
Okay.
Because these will be used by people other than our own people, so we have to keep in mind, I mean, not everyone might not have a Google Glass.
Exactly.
Right?
No,
so
this is just, again, it's just a demo purpose, really the sense of demo. What is the technology doing? Have a look.
What can be done?
Exactly, yeah. Because I think it will take more than 20 years until everyone in a warehouse has these glasses, or 10 years, I don't know. But this is rather, making it familiar, what's possible, what can we do, it kind of,
that we can definitely
putting it into their mind that they know, okay, we have here the warehouse project, and
But nonetheless, even this demo could be, I mean, we're doing, I don't know, 10, 20 different trade shows a year. So if the team says, well, that's something we put in our toolbox, then this can be also a growing toolbox where we say people are scanning stuff and getting content. It could be also an application for the MLabs. Also, I don't know if we talked about that with Peking yet, but I mean, they could put barcodes on, or they will have barcodes on all of the products there as well. So they could use this app if someone is walking through the MLabs, has the glasses on, and they can put up content by scanning. Exactly, because what they do at the moment, it's also quite organized. They have these there's a glass box with an image printed on the box, and I think there's an RFID tag on that, and they put it somewhere, and then a video is played. It's also a nice thing, but yeah, maybe the scanning is easier to expand because you don't have to print or create all these.
She told us about the RFID that they give when they come to the reception. They get an RFID.
Yeah. I don't know. No, this is on a shelf, and you have plenty of those are. I think there's glass. These are glass or plexiglass blocks, and on the block there's printed a logo like
or description of the product.
Exactly. And then inside the block there must be some RFID text as well, and then you put the block somewhere on the shelf, and then on the screen you can see video. But if you want to expand that, you always have to have another plexiglass block. I think it's quite cumbersome. While if you have those two barcodes, you just can print a new one, or you can just put out another content into the app. So that's easier to expand. And again, for the trade shows, you could also think about just adding new content and really making it. If they promote a certain new product, you could have all the content pieces in this app, and the people on the trade show can use the glasses instead of walking around on the booth. Booth space is always pretty limited. Yeah, I mean, a square meter is multiple thousand euros. So if you have videos, you don't look at them on the screen rather than on those glasses. I think that could be also potential. But again, I mean, neither our Marcom boss nor anyone else in this team had ever those glasses on. So again, this is rather educating them on what is possible and what we can do and how we could trigger how the content is showing up through physical objects that someone could grab as well. So yeah.
What is the rough timeline for the first glass demo app? Is that something for October?
If you could have it already early, 10th of September. That would be the DigiDay. If that's not possible, then we would hit.
When is that?
10th of September. September the 10th. Yeah.
Very soon.
That's very soon. Yeah, but if not possible, then it is what it is. And
no, if one of the company already has it, then we can.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure proceedings can be told.
Okay. And
I think
the other timeline is 10th of October, right? I mean, the CPHI is the 10th of October, so early October would be. I mean, we should probably have the app a little bit before the trade show, but
that's for
beginning of
mobile app.
October.
For the mobile app, early October?
No, for the demo. That's the second date for the demo. The
And
tour can be done any time this year. There's no certain timeline, I guess, where we need it, right?
No, not any of it.
Yeah, so we should. I just wrote down the quick requirements that you were talking about. A glass demo app where the content is stored within the app, so it doesn't need to communicate with another device. And we have maybe 3 examples of PDF, video, PowerPoint slides. You scan something and get an ID, and we're sort of mocking that the ID is pulling from a database somewhere, and then showing that the
And you can play the video, scroll through the document, and scroll through the slides maybe.
Would you want the content to pull up on the Google Glass itself? So if you had a PDF or a video, would you want it to be displaying within the glass itself?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, from a user story, that doesn't make sense. If I want to watch a video, I would rather put it on a screen or an app. That's I'm totally aware about that. But it's rather, just the experience. Like, hey, I can once I have these glasses on, I can watch a video triggered by this 2D barcode. Ooh, cool. What else could I show my customer in relation to the barcode? Maybe in a way where it really makes sense, not in a
And we've been talking about with Google Glass as if that's the only option, but
I haven't seen the Epson one that you guys looked at.
It's the same experience.
So it's relatively low res and not the greatest viewing experience?
The rest is quite nice, I thought.
It's okay, I wouldn't wanna watch a whole video on it though.
No, it's not for your video.
Not that, I mean, even just the, I'm only going on what you showed us, I mean.
But the proof video, it looks really nice on it.
The Epson one?
Yeah.
Have you looked, if you memorizing, comparing the two, would you say?
The Google Glass is quite small, the display.
That's
So
what I meant.
that's for me the biggest difference when you really look in the Epson Glass, you sit in the office, or I can also imagine you maybe sitting in the train and watching some YouTube videos or something.
I said the size is
It's okay.
As big as
Not
a
really
monitor.
using to demo, so.
Yeah.
The reason I've mentioned it is just because if that's what we're gonna use to demo it, then you might wanna.
So if on this distance, roughly the screen is that big. So as I said, I could easily imagine working with that, because you can read your emails on that or write your emails.
And we already have the hardware.
We have the hardware for us, yeah, and it's Android based, so there is they send out a device which is all comparable to a smartphone. It doesn't have a screen or anything because you use it through glasses and you attach it via cable, so we can load the APK files on this device.
It's got some sort.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Okay, so it's for Epson glass,
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
very
Do you remember which model?
Have you decided this already?
Yeah, I think if we could change one, I think we should go for Epson, right?
We'll show a couple more different glasses tomorrow.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
can get a
Yeah.
idea. So, Google, Epson, and
You guys have the Epson here?
so one of the company that's coming tomorrow, they're gonna bring two different Vuzix and ODG. ODG, these are two leading AR headsets. So let's take a look and.
After that, yeah, then we can narrow it down. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Be helpful to have the Epson here, but we don't have one.
I mean, we could send the model number just to see what the resolution is.
It's the 200 and 300 one. We have
BT 200, BT 300.
and the
But
newest
I
one.
think when we buy a new one, they are not longer.
The older ones are not available any longer. You have to buy the newest model, which is.
If one of the company has a solution for this barcode and everything, I mean, are you okay to do a small pilot?
Sure.
If that involves a small license fee or something like that.
That's fine. I mean, we have a certain budget for this year still left out of the barcode budget, and that's fine, yeah.
I can't speak to an AR one, but the reason I mentioned it's pretty straightforward is our good friend Paul, our savior, showed me what he used for an app platform, and you pay a subscription, and they have an AR, a barcode reading module built in. So you add a line of code, and it makes it there, and you can type in a URL, and it adds that to the interface, and then you scan it, and it sends to a URL you should open, and he built it in front of you. It took 10 minutes. So, I don't know.
Follow, yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I don't know if you want to use that, because you do have to pay a subscription. As soon as you stop, the app breaks. So I don't know if that's the model.
We should have it done by 5 o'clock.
Don't say that. But I played with it, because they have demo versions, and it really is that simple. So it's all JavaScript.
And based on what we've seen, and I'm sorry, changing topics. Based on what we've seen today, this the last basically 360-degree videos is definitely something we would like to try out. Is this something we would run through you, or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Eric's the guy, so he worked closely with Matterport, and
Okay.
he can put you in touch with.
That would be great.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. If it's that cheap,
What would be the use case there?
Well, virtual audit, that's our virtual audit use case I would do. We have one plant which will be technically ready to measure or take as much of these 360-degree videos of their plant as possible. They came up with multiple rooms as ideas, so they will be open to give access for multiple hours to anyone measuring the content. So and then if we have some action points in there, I don't know if this is something where you could take over and implement it into the, whatever it is, would you call that an app at the end? What you
It's a live service, web service, right?
web service, okay. Okay, so.
But it's available on the mobile too and
Yeah,
the browser.
I haven't tested on mobile, but it looks like the website, so I'm pretty sure it works, yeah.
Because the nice thing is, I mean, yes, VR is definitely then the next step and a better experience, but if you can show it in a browser, you can go in a meeting and tell that's what we envision. And now think about you're in that room and you're not watching it on your browser. That's really a nice story to tell, and then you can have some hotspots where you show another documents, even maybe already meaningful documents, like their control documents, their SOPs. Yeah.
But the Curaf also is built along the same lines. No, right?
Curafa?
Yeah.
That was a cardboard application.
No, but it's still navigation,
It's a
navigating
tour
inside.
of a building, yeah, and hotspots and that kind of thing.
It's built on Google Cardboard.
Cardboard.
Okay.
For mobile labs, or mobile pharmacies in Canada.
That's definitely the third thing. I'm really, I mean, that demo that looked really good. I mean, from a quality perspective, it's really.
Yeah, they have some very high quality cameras.
Yeah, but also not the quality, the way how they, have these, the tables and everything integrated. It was really, not this typical 360-degree where you have these stretches and it looks awful and you think like, okay, nice, I can get it, but still, I didn't have the feeling of watching that.
Yeah.
It was really
Very.
like a 3D game and you walk through it, the halls and yes, you were jumping from point to point, but I mean, that's, good. And then, I mean, basically already, I don't know if we can, or if we should discuss that some more as well. I mean, definitely what we want to do is getting access to one or the other platform, either Procelix or Upskill, to just try to demo stuff on our ends, and then also with all these stakeholders, which are potential candidates for the applications.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's really also for me the next step. So really to get experience also what can the platform do, how easy is it to set up stuff. And then we have a lot of we have some candidates in our broader organization who would do easily POCs with our key accounts. Yeah. I mean we interviewed Michael Burns, when was it, last week, right? And he basically said when we have the platform and one of the hardware equipments we could ship it to Pfizer in Ireland and do a POC with them immediately, and they would directly jump on that as an idea. That's this tech support idea through one of those platforms that we really would like to try it out. Because so far what the former teams which are working on that, what they have done, they used iPads and then they put those iPads in the lab of the customer squeezed it between books, and then they were using, Skype or something. So call that a POC, I don't know. I mean, people are, they're very suspicious about the technologies anyway, and then you're not working even with the real technology, you're working with something.
Give them a roll of tape to stick it.
Yeah, so how much can you really use the result of the POC? I mean, the customer said, interesting, nice, but I want to do it really with the real hardware, some glasses, and such a platform. That's really also important. I mean, and then also we are interesting. I think we can talk tomorrow about that. The feedback you already get from healthcare about the POCs they did in Spain. And
it's still going on, but I can give you an overview of what exactly has been done.
Yeah.
All the work that led to the pilot and all of that. So so we have time tomorrow morning for that.
Okay, good.
So what time are the guests coming?
We have one at 11, and we have another one at 2 o'clock. So we can spend the first 2 hours going through our topics and we'll talk to them. So in the afternoon, it's this company called Upskill, and they are the ones who are doing the pilot for healthcare in Spain. So they're one of the leading AR players working with a lot of big companies.
And as far as I understood, the guys from the digital bioprocessing team, they selected Procelix, but they're not that far advanced. They didn't start their POC, right?
No, they haven't. So we just are about to start configuring the application. So the admin part is completed.
Okay.
I mean, they picked Procelix because it's part of their connected lab platform. So they want for them, the licensing model is very important because it's not like you pay for. They want something like an OEM kind of licensing model
So they said they can have the entire
Proceedix
source
has-
code and
exactly.
integrate with the platform. Yeah.
So
And that's-
Proceedix was very open, saying that okay, we'll give you the whole source code, you incorporate it wherever you want, and we'll provide you updates every year in terms of that, and that is yearly fee. But there's no per user, per month, per year kind of thing.
That's cool.
So we have that kind of flexibility with us. I'm an upskills a big company, so they said we have OEM, but it's a little complicated. It doesn't fit into what they want to do.
And Proceedix is located here as well.
Proceedix is located, they're headquartered in Belgium.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're pretty close to Belgium actually.
Yeah.
So one of the reasons why they picked that thing.
Yeah, it could be.
But,
Yeah. They can talk in their beloved French language. I traveled a lot to France, and it's hilarious how many of them tell you, "Oh, I can't speak English because my teacher was so bad. My English teacher was so bad," and you're like, "Come on."
No, but they have a decent presence in US too, but they have a huge lot of market in Europe. If you're interested, I mean, maybe I can set up a demo with them on Thursday. Yeah.
I would also like to, compare those platforms, because I don't have an idea how what's the difference really? Is it if you compare browsers with each other, or any other software, usually you have all these differences in the fine details. Yeah, a non-techie person would probably not even notice the difference between Chrome, Firefox, or Internet Explorer. Same for difference between, I don't know, Skype and any other streaming software, because they don't use it usually in a depth that we use it with plugins and whatever, all this stuff. So that's what I would like